Hey guys. Yeah. Okay. Hey guys. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Yeah. All right. Okay. So if you're in this room right now, you're here for the intro to full stack development. CS 198099. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So this is gonna be just an introduction. We're gonna go over a few admin things, and also the attendance form will be distributed at the end of the lecture. Okay, so we're just gonna go over like our course staff, and they're gonna introduce themselves if they're here. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm one of the decal facilitators and YouTube education for WebDev. And unfortunately, my co-VP couldn't be here today, but yeah, nice to meet you all.
All right, and we're gonna go over the TAs.
Hi, I'm Ethan. I'm one of your design lecturers, and I'm really excited to be here.
I'm Sebastian. I'll be teaching CSS next week, so I get hyped for that.
Hi, I'm Juliet. I'm going to be teaching this lecture as well as the lecture on Wednesday, and I'm going to be a front-end TA this semester.
I am Yuto. I'm also a front-end TA, and I'm also teaching next semester, or not next week.
Hi, I'm Ishita. I go by Iki. I'm a front-end TA. I'll be teaching React in March.
Yay. Okay, so we're just going to talk briefly about what the full stack decal is about. So you're going to be learning three main things. The first is going to be the basic stack. So that's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also generally just how the internet works. Don't worry if you don't know any of these terms right now. You're going to slowly learn them throughout the decal. And then we're going to dive into front end. Front end is essentially everything that you interact with and work with on the screen. And so we're going to be learning about React.js, which is a JavaScript library, and also the user interaction and user experience design principles so that you get a better feel for how to cater towards the consumers who are actually going to be using like your website. And then we're also going to be talking about backend. We're going to be learning about the frameworks, the databases, cloud technologies. So the backend is used in order to store data so that you can, if you have like a login feature, you're able to store any data. Awesome. So this is going to be the course layout. We just talked about this. So it's going to be HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We're also going to learn a few other libraries in front end like Chakra to make your website look really nice and consistent. And in terms of backend, we're going to be learning Node.js. We're going to be learning REST APIs and also MongoDB. Also, again, like if this is all new to you, don't worry about it. We're going to be going over this like you don't need any experience. So if you're lost right now, that's okay. Awesome. So again, this is the basic stack. We're also going to be talking about GitHub, which is basically a platform where you're able to save all of your code. And you can also use it through the terminal, and that helps you with like keeping track of how you're progressing with your code so that if you ever mess up, you can go back to a previous like snapshot of your code. Also, these are some front end stuff that we're gonna be learning again. All of these companies that you see on the screen actually use some form of React, Figma, UI, UX, frameworks, things like that. And so everything that you're gonna be learning in this course is very industry relevant. So you're gonna be able to use it like as soon as you finish the decal, you're gonna be able to like use these at any of these companies. So yeah, same with the backend with our stack. All of these companies use this in order to store their data and to work with it. And so again, super usable in like real life. And so you guys will be learning a lot. Okay, so in terms of the course structure, this is a 3-unit decal. It's kind of hefty, but you'll learn a lot. And so we expect around 6 to 10 hours on this class per week. This also depends on like your programming background as well as how quickly you're able to pick things up. But yeah, so we have a ton of lesson plans. We have 2 projects, one of them being the final project, and we have 1 lab, and we also have around 9 homeworks. And so, yeah, and everything is going to be on the full stack decal website. So I can actually go on it right now. Okay, So on here, you're going to be able to go up to the syllabus. Yeah, so lectures are going to be Monday, Wednesday, 8 to 9:30 here. And it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah, so learning goals, also feel free to like look at this on your own time. I think it's going to be good to go over like what's expected of you, what you'll learn. So yeah, we also have a ton of office hours. All of our TAs and our facilitators are here to make sure that you succeed in this class. We really want you to, you know, be able to like gain a lot of skills. And so we're always here to help. We have a ton of office hours throughout the week to help you out. So don't be afraid to go to one of those to get help. And a lot of them are remote or in person. So you have the flexibility of doing whatever feels comfortable for you. Also make sure to look over like the ed etiquette. If you're not on ed yet, come up to us after class so that we're able to get you on there so that you have consistent updates throughout the week on what's due and things like that. So in terms of grading, attendance is mandatory. We're still going to be recording everything, but it is very important that you're here to learn it. So yeah. And then this is also the grading breakdown of all of your homeworks, project, attendance, etc. So make sure to take a look at that. And yeah, code of ethics, accommodations and extensions. You guys have probably heard a lot about this in your other classes. So yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just briefly going to go over these 3 basic stack that we're going to be going over so that you have a little bit of knowledge before we jump into HTML in our next lecture. So I'm going to be going over an example of HTML. Let me just pull it up. You guys feel free to follow along if you want to, but also you don't have to. We're going to be going like extremely more in depth on Wednesday. Okay, so let me move this. Okay, so first I'm using VS Code, which is a type of like platform you can use in order to, you know, type code or make code, I guess. A lot of companies use this. A lot of other classes in Berkeley use this. It's very robust and it's easy to use. So yeah. So we're first going to select a language. We're going to do HTML. Okay, so the first thing to start off is you always have the doc type. This is just like standard that you have. And then you're going to have an HTML tag, which is going to contain everything in it. So it already just recommends what is normally added in an HTML. But we're going to do something just very simple. We're going to have a body tag, and this is going to contain everything that you want on a website. So one of the tags that you can use is going to be like an H1 tag. This is going to be a header. Usually the header one is going to be the biggest one. So yeah, you can put whatever you want in that, and that's going to be your header one, and it's going to be bolded. It's going to be like the largest text on the screen. After that, let's say we want to add like a paragraph. And so this is going to be smaller. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh my God. Okay. That was a very jank way to do it. Okay. Okay. I just increased like your screen size. Sorry about that. Okay. So yeah. So this is like a very simple like HTML document. So if we want to run it, let me just run that debugging. Oh, okay. Do you not have Chrome on your computer?
I don't think I do.
Do you just have Edge?
Wait, which one?
Just run without debugging.
Try, yeah, try. Oh, okay.
Okay, Slay. Wonderful. Okay. So then here you see that the header one is the largest text, and then this is like a paragraph, and it's going to be smaller. But this is how you make a page. Congratulations for those of you who followed along. I don't think anyone did. That's okay. Okay. And so, awesome. So that's how you do. So this is like, it shows an example similarly, and how it looks. The body basically holds everything in it. That's going to be on the page. So H1 and paragraph are subcomponents of body. And there's a bunch of other tags that you'll be learning later on as well. And so in terms of CSS, CSS is how you style your HTML, how you want your page to look, including like font, color, how you lay it out, as well as like animation. So we're just going to briefly go through an example for CSS as well. File. Yay. Okay. Okay. So an example would be like this. So this is only going to change whatever's in the paragraph tag. And so if we want to change it to red, and let's say we also want font decoration. Oh, font decoration. Oh well. Text decoration. Close enough. Okay. And then let's say we want to underline it. And then we want to change the header one to be, okay. Okay. And then in order for these two to be connected to each other, we need to create something that like is able to, so that this page, this HTML page is able to know what we just made through CSS in order to actually decorate it. So in order to do that, also again, you'll be able to learn all of this. Yes. Yeah, so you're gonna do link. So this just shows like the relation, which is the style sheet. And then you also want to do type, which is text CSS. Oh. And then the href is basically the link. And so the link that we made it out was example.css. Awesome. So if we save this, stop what we have. Okay, so now the two pages are able to communicate with one another. So if we run without debugging, oh, okay, cool. JK. Am I missing a tag? I am missing a tag. Okay. Okay, now it like styled it. So there's an underline, it's red, and the header one is blue. So yeah, that is just like a basic just introduction of what those can do. Again, we'll be going over everything again, so don't worry. But yeah, and then JavaScript is basically just another high-level programming language. It's very similar to Python, if any of you have used that before, and it makes all of the interesting behaviors on your website. So if you're clicking on a button and it takes you to another page, that's going to be JavaScript. This is like an example of like basic syntax. This is basically just a function that takes in the variables weight and gravity, which we've named up here as these two constants, and then it just returns the multiplied product of it. Oh. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so this is an example of just HTML being used. So we have a header, we have an image, and then we just have two links. But just looking at this, it's kind of ugly. I don't think you would want, this is giving like Craigslist, you know? So we want to make it look a little nicer. And so that's what CSS is for. And so with CSS, we were able to make the image a background. We were able to make everything stacked on top of each other in the middle, so it looks more clean. And we also made the links purple, right? And then we want to add more, we want to be able to click on these two links and have them take us somewhere or do some action, right? We don't want it to be static. So in order to do that, we use JavaScript. So for example, when we clicked on purchase, it pops up with this pop-up saying that it was sold out, right? And so that is what JavaScript does. Whenever you click on something or whenever you interact with something, it'll report like feedback essentially. And also like, I don't know if you noticed, but like the buttons look different now, and that's also in addition to CSS. There's also like libraries that you'll learn, like Chakra, like I mentioned earlier, where like these buttons are already made for you. So it like looks clean, so you don't have to like repeat code multiple times. Yeah. And then Yuto is going to be talking about the other tools that you're going to be using in this class. So yeah.
All right, let's talk about the tools that you'll be needing as a good web dev. Firstly, you'll need a web browser. How many of you have a web browser installed right now? Okay, good. That's a good first step. So pretty much everyone has a web browser, but not all web browsers are created equally. So we have a recommendation. If you use Chrome, it's a good thing because almost everyone uses a Chromium-based browser. So if you see something on your Chrome browser that you made, most other people will also see the same thing. For a code editor, our recommendation is use VS Code. The reason being that a lot of web devs also use VS Code, and there's a lot of plugins in this editor. So if you have something that you want help on in your editor, autocomplete or whatever, there's a lot of plugins that will do that for you. For a GUI terminal emulator, it doesn't matter what you use. Like there's two popular ones for Mac. There's iTerm2. For Windows, there's Windows Terminal. Those those are cool. But if you use one of those GUI terminal emulators, you should be using a Bash-like shell. So the reason being that a lot of web dev like command line tools assume that you have like something like Bash. So if you use Windows, you might need to install this thing called WSL. It's on the website. You can figure it out. It's a bit complicated setup, but I'm sure you'll be able to do it. If you need help, come to office hours. Yeah. It's yeah. Okay. It's on Mondays. Yes. Okay. So let's do a quick Git demo. Okay. The wrong. Okay, I'm trying to make it so that you can see it as well. Maybe I should. Is that good? I hope it's visible. So let's do like this. Okay. So I made a directory and I went into that directory. CD stands for change directory. Let's initialize Git. This is a Git demo. Hopefully, if you haven't used Git, this will bootstrap you. So let's make a very small script called, and let's just, this is like also a JavaScript demo if you want, let's say, that's an example JavaScript script. So let's see what's going on inside of Git. So Git has detected that you have a file inside your repository. Okay, you can add files to your Git repository, and now Git will know that you want this file to be version controlled. Let's make a commit. So when you make a commit, it will know that this is a point in time. This is like a snapshot of your repository that you want to keep. Now let's say you also want to use the cloud. You want to host your code on GitHub, right? Then you will have to make a new repository on GitHub. I don't know if that should be on the screen. Hopefully it's okay. Okay. Simple repo. Okay. I forgot which ones still existed. Okay, so you know, this is like the URL to your GitHub repository. You want to copy that because that's how you can tell Git what your origin is, which is the name for your like GitHub repository.
What's like the benefit to hosting it on cloud rather than just keeping it?
So my best example case scenario I can think of is if you lose your computer, if your computer gets stolen, then the last commit that you pushed to GitHub, those are all technical words that mean something, will be saved on GitHub so you can load it back onto a new computer. Yeah. Let's add. Oh, question, yes.
Like the same thing with 61B and you're using Git and connect it to your other repository, how could we like make sure that we don't have the two Git mixed up?
Wait, can you say it again? But a bit
Because we're
slowly.
using Git
Uh-huh.
in 61B.
Uh-huh.
If we change this to a new repository, would it also mess up the other one? Like how could we like have both of them?
Sure.
If you change it back and forth?
So I guess the question is, how do you have two Git repositories on your computer at the same time?
Yes.
So Git is actually local to the directory that you initialized in. So if you look at this, directory right here, you have this Git folder. I'm currently inside a path on your computer called temp2. If your 61B project is in a different path that's not under temp2, then you will be fine. There will be no conflicts. Yeah. Okay, let's push this to GitHub. You don't need to push this to GitHub. Okay. Let's take a look at which branches exist. Oh yeah, okay, so this is what like no one uses, switch C. You can make a new branch. You can also use this in 61B. It's very useful. If you have like multiple versions of your code that you want to test and figure out which one to keep. Now we're in a different branch. And let's say I want to make a change in this branch. New feature. It's different now. So let's see. But like, let's say I made a lot of changes, right? And I'm like, what changes did I make? I kind of don't remember. You can do git diff and it will tell you what you did. You removed that red line and you added that green line. Okay. So now let's just add those changes and put that as new feature. We can also look at the branches again. You can see there's two branches. Oh, but this one doesn't have an origin because you didn't push it yet. So you want to push that maybe. Okay, cool. So now two branches on both here and on GitHub. If you take a look. Okay, well, oh, okay. So there's two branches right there, main and my feature. Okay. And we can lastly put merge. This is how you actually put your changes in the different branch into the main branch. And we can do git log to see what commits exist in the current branch. You can see there's new feature. Oh wait, I just realized I merged the wrong branch. Okay, now you can see that there's two commits, new feature that was in the my feature branch, but now it's in the main branch. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Really quick, can you go over what like git add versus git commit versus git push all mean?
Sure. So git add lets you add the files that you want to track into your Git repository. What was the next one? Git commit tells your Git repository that you want to save the current state of your Git repository as a snapshot in your Git history. Git push moves or copies your current local Git repository code into the cloud's like origin repository code, in this case, GitHub. Yeah.
What is like the local repository stuff story?
That is. Oh.
When you say like git add, git commit, like where is that stuff stored?
That is a good question. So it's stored local to the current Git repository's location. You see the index file here, but that's not the actual thing that you added. Well, you added this file, but when you add that file, the data that knows that you added that file is actually inside this Git folder, this .git folder. And it's kind of complicated to look at. you shouldn't really go inside that folder. If you touch stuff, Git won't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, hopefully that's enough to get you started being comfortable on the terminal and to complete homework 0, which will probably use some of these. Okay.
Maybe you can like go over the slides.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
overview.
Yeah, I mean, I used most of, actually, yeah, I did use all of these. This is the first thing you need to do. The git init, you need to also add files. The dot means the current directory and everything below it. Git status tells you what the current state of your Git repository is. That is very useful to use. I probably use that the most. Yeah.
Does it matter at like which point in your code will you git add?
What do you mean by which point?
Like if you like do you like type everything and then you git add a commit, or do you do like git add like before you start typing? Because it says start tracking all files.
Oh, I see what you mean. So when you send this command, what you are telling Git is that you want to start tracking all the files in your current directory that already exist and all the data inside those files. So you would write your code first and then do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Why would git status be useful? Or why would you want to check the current status?
Because you probably won't remember what you just did. Well, that's the issue I have normally. So like I would like git remove the file that I just added, and I'm like, wait, so what did I just do? Like, what is the current state of my Git repository? You know, can I push? Oh, I can push. But maybe I don't, maybe I'm pushing the things that I don't want to push, or maybe I'm not pushing the things that I needed to push. So if you write git status, it tells you which files are currently staged. And some other miscellaneous stuff. There's like a lot of stuff that this tells you, but normally you shouldn't see those. You can ask me like interesting features if you want later at QA. Okay. Yeah, I think the third command doesn't work on Windows, but like, don't worry about it. You probably won't need to use it. You'll probably use code if you're using VS Code. Code is like the command in Bash to open files. Oh, wait, I didn't use touch, but it makes an empty file. Yeah.
So your terminal was different than the one that's usually built into Macs. Are we expected to use that one that you showed up there?
The one built into Macs, you can just use that. Yeah. It's Bash or Zish, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think that's the end of the lecture.
Yeah, that was a lot of material really quick, so definitely ask any questions that are on your mind right now.
I like your setup.
Oh, thank you.
Can I
Thank
have
you.
your dot file?
It's on my GitHub profile somewhere. Yeah.
Does anybody look at access the slides?
Yeah. I'll.
Post them on Ed, and yeah, definitely also check if you are on the Ed. I believe waitlisted students might not be, so if you are, you can just like come up and ask us real quick. But we'll do like weekly posts. We'll upload the slide and a recording.
Do we just need to wait for our grade scopes to come into our?
Yeah. So the grade scope, you just have to still add all of you guys, but that will be. So actually today we are releasing homework 0, which is set up, and we'll have that due February 8th. So I believe that's next Monday, or like exactly a week. And usually, oh no, sorry, it's next Wednesday, yeah. And that's given a little extra time just because setup can be a little difficult, especially with like, everyone's different devices. So we really want to give you guys time to either come out to office hours, make it as close, and you can really get everyone their full stuff.
What's the value of web development when like apps and other kinds of digital technologies are on the rise?
web development will always be alive. Like, it's also just really keeping the internet running. It's a very valuable skill to know today. Even with those like new technologies, web development is ingrained in all of those, and it's really making them accessible to everyone in the world. So without web development, those new technologies are not going to be able to.
Also, companies are like always hiring front end and back end devs. Like that's like the main thing.